Let me take you back to something real quick. The year is 2006. Twitter has yet to be launched, and with its non-existence up to this point means we're on the last good year on Earth, but not only that, it was one of the most important years for specialists in the history of the game. You see, before this point, there was actually a great divide for coaches. A divide between who should be holding the ball for the kicker. For a long time, this role had been given to backup quarterbacks for one reason. If something were to go wrong, it would make the most sense for a quarterback, a player known for having to improvise with the ball in their hands rather than one of those goofy specialists who many thought at the time could barely chew gum and walk on the football field without tripping over themselves, to be the ones holding the ball. And also, that thought process was for good reason. Us specialists had some pretty bad gaffes. But the cost of it was, you get quarterbacks holding for your kickers who notoriously only get to work for about 15 to 20 minutes at practice, which is not great for the brand, and one of the reasons why many point to kickers being wildly inconsistent during the era of quarterbacks being holders. But this divisiveness aside, let's take you to the game in question. We're in the fourth quarter of the wild card round of the playoffs where the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The boys are in the middle of a 20-year Super Bowl drought, and believe it or not, their fans were hopeful that this would be the year that the drought ends, and taking on the Seahawks, who had really nothing spectacular going for them, meant that they'd be just the first stop in the Cowboys' way to getting back to the chip and winning it all. And after 4 grueling, gritty quarters of football, it looked like the Cowboys were poised to take the lead with just a minute and 19 seconds left. The Cowboys trotted their field goal unit out with the ball on the 2-yard line to let their kicker attempt, but a short 19-yard field goal. Now, Cowboys fans know how this ends, but may not know the impact it had, because as the snap comes back, it's mishandled by their holder, a young Tony Romo. And now, we're supposed to see why it's good to have a quarterback back there, right? He picks it up, he runs to his left, and is tackled short of the goal line. They would never recover from this gaffe in this game, but most importantly, the special teams coaches never recovered either. From there, it was a wave of reckoning in the NFL for quarterbacks being holders as 2 main reasons appeared. A. Coaches were completely disillusioned to what a quarterback could actually do in this situation. Because let's face it, this play was not designed to go wrong. Firstly, your blockers are all clumped up and not blocking to open up holes or set an edge. In fact, most of them aren't moving at all. Secondly, the defense is often played with 3 backers as spies to cut off the edge if anything goes wrong. And most importantly, when something like this happens, you don't control the way the ball bounces. So when moments come like this, the predetermined routes you tell your tight ends to run in a fire situation, which is what this is, just don't matter if the ball bounces the opposite direction like it did here. And the second thing that coaches realize is that you can't cut your quarterback because of this play. I'm going to say it. If you have a punter mess up on a hold, boom, he's gone the next day. And shoot, he might be gone the same game, depending on how bad it is. But let's be honest, no matter how much you despise your quarterback for flubbing a hold, what can you do about it? It's just one of the long list of things that are considered their job. So if they mess it up, they might still be a good enough asset to keep them around. As opposed to punters, where if you give them the job, hey, that's part of your job. You have to hold the ball 50% of the time and punt it the other 50% of the time, so you can't miss up on half your job without getting cut. So as we look throughout the future, coaches completely felt this as quarterbacks as holders went from a common commodity to completely non-existent in the present day of football, and we can only thank Tony Romo for it.